Hi, and welcome to DIY with Ashley. Today I'll be showing you how to make a travel makeup brush holder. This is a perfect project if you have any scraps or remnants laying around. So if you're ready, let's get started. To make this makeup brush holder, here are the supplies you'll need. Approximately a yard worth of fabric. If you're using remnants, use larger pieces. You'll need 1 2/3 yards of lace, a round quilting template or something with a rounded edge, your handy dandy sewing pins, a hem guide, fabric scissors or a rotary cutter, coordinating thread, an acrylic ruler and cutting mat, an iron and an ironing board, as well as a fabric marker and a sewing machine. Let's start cutting out our pattern pieces. For the main part, you'll need to cut 2 pieces 25 inches wide by 11.5 inches high. For the pocket, you'll cut 1 piece 25 inches wide by 5.5 inches high. Next, for the flap, you'll cut 2 pieces 24 inches wide by 6 inches high. These pieces can be matching or contrasting. Also, since this portion won't be seen, you could sew 2 or more pieces of fabric together to make your pattern piece. Here I've sewn 2 pieces together to make 1 whole piece. With a busy print like this, you won't be able to detect a seam, and this is a great way to reuse smaller pieces of fabric because you can quilt them together to make your pattern pieces. We'll set aside the flap pieces for now and start creating the top hem for the pocket piece. Begin by ironing 1/2 inch down, then folding over another 1/2 inch down and ironing it as well. After you're done ironing, go ahead and take this piece to your machine and sew the hem down as close to the edge as possible. After your pocket piece is done, you'll lay it on top of one of the body pieces and start pinning the sides and the middle to hold it in place. Next, you'll grab your fabric marker or tailor's chalk to start marking 1/2 inch on each side for the side seams. Next, you'll start making the lines for the holders. The slot sizes can vary based on the size of your brush handles, so I recommend you draw your lines using your brushes and generously space them out. After you finish tracing your lines, you'll sew a straight line over them, sew a little past the top of the pocket and do some back stitching. We'll set aside this part and start working on the flap next. Grab your 2 flap pieces and put them right sides together. Start pinning all the way around the 2 pieces. When you're done pinning, you can grab your round template. If you don't have a template, go ahead and grab a kitchen plate. You can trace around the rounded edge of the plate to make your corners. Using your template, go ahead and round the bottom corners. Next, take the flap to your machine using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Sew along the short ends and the long bottom piece. After your flap is sewn, you'll want to go ahead and trim the corners so that you can turn it right side out and have everything nice and crisp. Next, we'll go ahead and iron our flap so that everything is nice and flat. Once we're done ironing, we'll take it to our machine and top stitch along the edge that's sewn. When you're done top stitching the flap, put it aside and we'll start working on the back piece of the brush holder. Find the middle of your back piece and center the lace. After you're done laying the lace down, go ahead and cut off the excess. This will be used as the tie later. And be sure to pin your lace in place. Then we'll use a zigzag stitch or a double stitch to sew it down to our back. Now it's time to assemble all the pieces. Go ahead and lay your flap piece down 1/2 inch away from the edge on both sides. Pin the flap down, then lay the back piece right side on top of the main piece and go ahead and pin all the way around. Be sure to leave a 2 to 3 inch section near the lace on the right side to use this as an opening to turn everything. We'll close this opening later. So we'll go around and sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance, not sewing the opening shut, and we'll trim the corners once everything is sewn. Then go ahead and turn out your project right side out. Also, be careful not to sew the sides of the flap in the seam allowance. For a professional finish, we're going to iron the edges. Avoid ironing your lace, since it might melt. You can top stitch the top of your flap if you desire. Now it's time for you to grab that extra piece of lace. We're going to sew our opening closed and also sew on the tie. Fold the lace in half to find your center, then place the center on the very edge on top of the lace on the back. You'll sew the lace down as close to the edge as possible to close the opening and attach the tie. Now your brush holder is complete and you're ready to roll. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if this is your first time visiting my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to join my DIY family and tap the little notifications bell to keep up to date with all my tutorials. Again, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.